Kevin Robinson is here answering your tax-related questions. So this person is saying, my parents make less than $70,000 per year. They're 80 and 82 years old. Should they still be owing taxes?
Well, that's a good question, Tanya. I get asked it quite a bit, is how old do you have to be to stop paying taxes? But it's a function of income and not age. So basically, depending on their overall tax situation, yes, they probably should still be paying taxes and filing it. Typically, people that don't have to file taxes at that age or just have Social Security only, maybe a little retirement income, but the upper incomes, I would say so, yes, they should be filing taxes.
Okay, this person's asking, my CPA filed my taxes electronically for me on February 22nd, and I haven't received a refund. Okay, we did that one, okay. I'm going through all the text messages. This one said, I filed my taxes February 24th, and this is why I'm getting mixed up, because there's so many of them asking the same kind of question. Why haven't I received my taxes? The online IRS website says not enough information.
Well, that's a good question. And I know I read today that even the 800 number to call about a refund hotline, only about 2% of calls gets through, which is kind of a bad number. However, it's possible there's such a backlog with the IRS. And one thought I have, not sure it would apply to this case, is that there's a discrepancy between the stimulus payment and also the recovery rebate credit. So there could be a lot of things going on there that they'll just have to be patient and keep being a squeaky wheel, the IRS trying to get through to find out where their refund's at.
Yeah, it seems like a waste of time, isn't it, to almost dial the IRS number
Yes.
on most days?
Yes.
Okay. So this
Yes.
person is saying, if you filed jointly the year before, can you file separately this year?
Oh, certainly, you can do that. I guess I would say look before leap, as the saying goes, just to see which, if it will hurt you filing separately, and run it both ways for 2020. But if they want to file separately in 2020, they were 19 and jointly, they have the right to do so.
Okay. This person says, can taxes be paid with credit cards?
Well, it most certainly can, but again, I would advise if it'd be better to pay with a draft of a checking account or a savings account and avoid the fee of the credit card.
Yeah, we just did this story on Two Wants to Know, so we posted that in the Two Wants to Know section. There's a lot of fees associated with that. All right, this person is asking, what is the latest news on unemployment payments being non-taxable, especially if we already filed? So first and foremost, let's tackle this, the unemployment, because some of your unemployment is going to be waived for your income. So we've got a graphic that talks about that and what the income is and how much is going to be non-taxable.
Yes, basically, then it's retro to 2020 is the first $10,200 of unemployment received in 2020 will be waived as far as taxes go. People are getting a 1099-G for the unemployment received. So if they've already filed their taxes and didn't waive the $10,200 and they don't need to amend the return, the IRS basically will amend it for them. But if they are filing taxes and hopefully their tax software updates caught up to that. So if it was 15,200 of unemployment, that 10,200 would be waived. They would only have to pay federal taxes on the 5,000. But keep in mind, North Carolina does not recognize the waiver of 10,200. So the entire unemployment tax would be the 10,200 waived on the federal is added back to the state.
Yeah, and that is a big deal that the state has you add back your taxable income from unemployment, where federal does not this year.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is a question, I guess, for next year. Do estimated tax payments for 2021 have to be made quarterly, or can you pay them all later or all at once?
Well, it's up to the individual, but typically, if they're paid quarterly, then they need to be paid by the quarterly respective due dates. But you can pay them at the end of the year, as long as you get them paid technically by January 15th, 2022 for the 2021 year. But just make sure that you're paying enough in so you don't get an underpayment penalty on your return.
Okay, and we got another one of them. I still haven't gotten my taxes kind of thing. Can I call the IRS? You can call the IRS, but you're probably not going to get anybody. In fact, everywhere on their website that I see, it says do not call the IRS.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that is not like one of those consumer helps for you, at least not at this time.
Right.
So let's go over the three things that you should know filing taxes this year. And the first thing of the three things you should know is you can give to charity up to $300 and deduct that whether you itemize or not.
That is correct, Tanya. Basically, if you give cash contributions, not goodwill, but cash contributions to a charity, but you don't have enough to itemize on Schedule A on your federal return, it is an adjustment to income on the front of your 1040. So you can write that off as adjustment to income, much like student loan interest. However, again, be aware North Carolina does cause you to, or requires you and I to add back the $300 that we took off on the federal as an add back to income.
Again, okay. The first two stimulus checks, they're on your return, they're line 30. So if you didn't get the first two, that's where you go.
That is correct.
And that is the recovery rebate credit. And then can you use previous year's income for tax credits?
I guess it would depend. Well, I know there is one case of a situation for earned income credit where if you get a better refund for earned income credit, you can go back to 2019 and use income there for that credit. I do know about that.
Okay, great. All right, thank you so much, Kevin. We appreciate your time and your expertise. For those of you who are looking for all kinds of tax information and resources, it's in the Who Wants to Know section right now, along with the explainer about how you can indeed pay your taxes by credit card, but maybe you'll want to think about it because of the fees that are involved with that.